He's your ward one. You want to nominate him?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 8th, 2015, approximately 7 p.m. If we all kindly rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mayor Arsenko?
Here.
Mrs. Gatos?
Here.
Dr. Griesbach?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Johns?
Here.
Mr. Clary?
Here.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Little?
Here.
Mr. Dice?
Here.
Mr. Lally?
Here.
Mr. Hugus?
Here.
Mr. Sedlak?
Here.
Council, if you're going to have to bear with me, I'm going to step off the Diaz and I'm going to talk down at the front as a resident.
Uh-oh.
Before I get started, once again, I'm going to make this very clear. I'm not standing here as the mayor. I'm standing here as a resident of Monroeville and a citizen of this great country of ours.
Can you please sign in, sir?
State your name.
Greg Arasinko, and I do live in Monroeville. How's that?
Thank you.
Keep it. And you register?
You know, this whole business about the prayer, it's very sad that we have to take a look and change things as we have done for many decades here. But we're in 2015, and the sad reality is my friends and neighbors behind me is a fact that we have to live with. But I assure you, we are going to institute, at least I would hope this council will consider instituting a new policy on this prayer business. And I do want to thank all the residents who have personally said to me that they thank me for what I do as a person and my stand on my faith, on the prayer, how I feel about it personally. And I want to thank Pastor Schaefer, Buck Schaefer, his wife Amy, and all the members of my church that I go to at Grace Life. They've been my biggest fans. The good news is, folks, I've had people from all over the country say to me, thank me for my stand. And I want to thank them as well. This is not over, folks. I want to just tell you that as a resident, I'm going to encourage this council to please consider what Mr. Dice and our other, and I'm drawing a blank on Jeremy's last name, the other council that that I know you are dealing with. I hope this does proceed and start off in January. It's very sad, in my opinion, that we had to change something that I think that our nation was founded on. You know, Judeo-Christian values. Some will disagree with me on that, but that's how I see it. I served our nation for a long time, not only in the service, but I served our nation's veterans for almost 3 decades. And to see this happen here today, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think it's a sad day for not just Monroeville, but for our country. Because in my opinion, we need not only to pray for Monroeville, we need to pray for our entire country. Just look what's going on around this world. So, you know, again, I just wanted the people, especially those that took the time to come out of their busy lives and sit here and let them know. I fully want to just thank them from the bottom of my heart for supporting me as a human being and as a citizen of this great nation. And I'm sorry that I'm going to probably upset some folks with my comments tonight, but deal with it. Because in my opinion, we're still the greatest nation on the earth, and we're still God-centered in my opinion. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Okay, before we begin tonight, obviously there appears to be some people that may want to speak to the subject, and certainly that's your right under public participation in the meeting. I'm going to suggest to council, however, that they not entertain dialogue with anyone that speaks on this subject. Don't get into offering positions or offering comment concerning the subject matter of prayer and how it's going to be implemented. Just know, however, that we have started the imposition or the process by which to go through some due diligence to come up with an ordinance that would establish, I believe, a policy that would meet or exceed the requirements that are set out in the various court cases. And we intend to endeavor down that road, get an ordinance to the municipality for their review, advertising, and at some point considering adoption. So again, we're shooting for that January date, and we'll see to it that we meet that. Okay, that's all.
Okay, folks, right now I'll leave it open for public comment on the proposed agenda items only. The proposed agenda items only. Seeing none, I'd like to make an announcement here. Council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons on Monday, November 23rd, 2015, from 6 p.m. to 7:05 p.m. Prior to Citizens Night on Thursday, December 3rd, 2015, from 6 p.m. to 6:50 p.m., and prior to tonight's council meeting, from 6:30 p.m. to 6:45 p.m., council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at the December 8th, 2015 council meeting. Council, if you'll please review any further comments or changes on the budget hearing of October 28th, 2015, the budget hearing of November 5th, 2015, Citizens Night meeting of November 5th, 2015, council work session of November 5th, 2015, and the regular council meeting of November 10th, 2015. Any additions or corrections, council? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And moving over to our reports of our tax collections, once again, council, are any additions or corrections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
And once again, council, looking at the payroll report, any additions or corrections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And for the list of bills and budget transfers, once again, council, motion on the floor. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll start off with you, Tom.
Nothing.
Steve?
I have no questions.
Nothing, sir.
Nothing, sir.
Ron?
Nothing.
No questions, Mayor.
Motion
No, sir.
on the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Council, moving over to the vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities. Are there any appointments or nominations?
Mayor, I have a couple.
Please.
I would like to nominate Valerie Warning to the Personnel Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr.,
I would also like to nominate Jim Brown to the Finance Authority.
is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any others there,
Good for
Mr.
me,
John?
sir.
Any other nominations or
Yes, sir.
appointments? Please.
This is a nomination, not a vote. I'd like to nominate Daniel Marston, the Third Ward, to the Human Needs and Resources Advisory Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any other nominations or appointments?
I have a couple appointments, Mayor.
Please.
I'd like to nominate, or appoint Bob Stevenson, Third Ward, Cottage Lane, to the Zoning Hearing Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
I'd also like to nominate Gary DiLorenzo to the Monroeville Municipal Authority.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And lastly, I would like to reappoint Georgianne Payne to the Police Civil Service Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Nick?
Mayor, so clarify real briefly with Mr. Johns, unless I misheard it. Mr. Brown, Mr. Jim Brown, I believe that's an appointment?
Yes.
You said nominate.
I nominated
Oh, I
him
missed that.
last month.
Yeah, that's an appointment.
That's
I
an appointment.
apologize.
You meant
Yes.
Should we redo that, Mr. Dice?
Why not?
All right.
I would like to appoint Mr. Brown to the
That's a motion.
Finance, a motion to appoint Mr. Brown to the
Second.
Finance Authority.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Any other appointments or nominations?
I would like to appoint Debbie Isaac to the library board.
Is there a second?
Second, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Any other appointments or nominations, Scott, please?
I'd like to appoint Jolie Beatrice to the library board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Any other appointments or nominations? Seeing none, we'll move over to the new business, and Mr. Little, if you will.
Okay, the first item under new business is A&L Motors. Applicant is requesting a final subdivision approval for the consolidation of parcel 638-S376 and parcel 638-7-500 to create Lot 1 totaling 3.65 acres. The property is located at 3780 William Penn Highway in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District.
Please state your name for the record, sir. I see you signed in.
Honorable Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, James Colleen on behalf of A&L Motors.
James, if you'll just give us a brief, because we did discuss this at our work session.
Yes,
That's for the edification
That's correct. And
of our audience.
Turn it around.
Yeah, lay it down.
Oh,
flat.
There's a camera.
There's a eye in
The
the
cameras.
sky. Eye in the sky.
Just put it
Just
right
lay
in
it
the
flat.
center,
Flat,
right in the
flat,
center.
flat. There you
Like
go.
you're looking at it.
There we go. There we go. Thank you. Apologize.
That's okay.
A&L Motors is the owner of two parcels that comprise the entirety of the dealership lot, and this is simply the filing of a consolidation plan to unify the two parcels into one contiguous parcel.
Once again, council, any questions?
Paul, there was a right-of-way or something that went down between?
Yeah, the origination of that parcel of land was for a sanitary sewer. They created a piece of land instead of creating a right-of-way. So that's what we're fixing now. They did establish a right-of-way for the sanitary sewer, and it's recorded.
There's no building taking place at this point.
No, this is just simply a consolidation.
Any other comments? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Have a great evening, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Little, the motion?
Okay, the first motion, this motion was tabled. Motion to engage the services of the Cohen Law Group to assist in the cable franchise renewal negotiations with Verizon Pennsylvania Incorporated pursuant to the proposal to the Turtle Creek Valley Council of Governments dated June 16, 2015, with a revised schedule dated as of last Thursday, which would have been December the 3rd, because I gave council a revised schedule, which, just to refresh council's memory, this would only cost us $4,650 with a great reduction from $9,500.
Motion on the floor.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve.
Questions
Second.
or comments? Seeing none, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Little.
Okay, the second one is a motion to ratify the hiring of Cody Browning for the engineering inspector position. And Mr. Browning is up there. Cody, if you wanted to say a few words, or
You don't have to.
you don't have to, Cody, that's all right.
Man of little words.
We're very happy to have Cody with us. Cody has a mechanical engineering degree from Texas Tech. And your wife teaches at the high school, correct? Spanish?
Yes, sir.
That's right. Well, welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Little.
Okay, item number 3, I did not have at the work session, but I just received this yesterday from MBS. This is a motion to enter into a joiner agreement with Municipal Benefit Services for the MBS PPO 1500Q Health Benefit Plan.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Clary.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach.
Abstain.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Little.
Excuse me, just 1 second, Mr. Little. I'd like to comment that I think Mr. Little and Mr. Sedlak did a great job in working this out for us, and I want to thank you very much. It's going to really benefit the community as well as the municipal government. Thank you.
Mr. Little.
Okay, number 4 is a motion to advertise an ordinance creating an ad hoc board to study the Home Rule Charter.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call. Go ahead, do you want to say a couple words?
Brief comment, Mayor. Yes, we talked about this at the work session. We are hoping to form an ordinance, an ad hoc board to examine the Home Rule Charter. Our plan was initially to do a resolution and have that passed tonight, and then form the board between now and January, and hopefully get the board up and running in January. Turns out after closer examination through the solicitor's office, a board would be better formed through an ordinance. So an ordinance has some advertising requirements, so we're going to be pushing this till January. However, we would like to get residents that are interested to submit their letter of interest now, so we can stay on the same time frame. So if you could just contact Mr. Little's office via email, or any of your council people by email. And also, we're looking for resumes, as we would with any other board. So hopefully we get some residents interested.
Okay, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Clary.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Little.
Okay, item number 5 is a landlord registration and licensing ordinance, which was discussed at the work session this past Thursday. Mr. Wilson asked me to put this on the agenda. It's a motion to advertise the ordinance for landlord registration and licensing.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon.
But, hold
Go ahead. Questions or comments?
on. I had a lot of questions in the ordinance, and that's not that I'm opposed to it, it's just that I needed more time to review it. I was going to request that we table it for a month. But I don't know where we go from here, because I didn't say that before you took the motion.
Oh, that's right, you were commenting. That's
Oh,
comment in a second.
Go ahead, yeah. Linda?
I was under the impression that we were going to take a harder look at this prior to passing this, for some rewording, and look at it for next month's meeting and not tonight's meeting.
Well, I don't believe this is,
Well,
Pass the ordinance.
What I was going to ask you is, Tom, maybe since they want to
Let's table it.
further,
I'll make a motion to table.
no, would you withdraw your?
Withdraw your motion.
Oh, he can do that?
No, he made a motion to table. Does somebody second it?
I will second motion to table.
All right, roll call,
You
Sharon.
don't have to roll
please.
call that. You can, all in favor of that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it.
Table.
Very good, table. Thank you. Mr. Little, resolution.
Okay, resolution. We have one resolution, and that is a resolution adopting Sky Zone Monroeville Sewage Planning Module.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Clary.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dice.
Yes, the first ordinance is the ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville amending ordinance 1443 for the purposes of finding of fact related to the adoption of amendment providing for definitions, establishing general and specific standards relating to the location, placement, construction, maintenance of commercial, communication towers, and communication antennas.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments? And just for the public's edification, we discussed all these issues. I apologize. I normally say that at the beginning. These were discussed at length at the work session.
And we had a public hearing on that.
And a public hearing as well. Thank you. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Dice.
Yes, the next 5 taxes are your annual real estate and tax ordinances that we pass every year. The first one is the ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville fixing the real estate millage for the lands, buildings, and structures for 2016.
Motion on the floor.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Dice.
Next is an ordinance of the municipality to provide for the adoption of a budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2016.
Motion on the floor.
Motion to
Do
approve.
it at the end.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Dice.
Next is the ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville continuing the deed transfer, mercantile tax, business privilege tax, and local services tax pursuant to the Local Tax Enabling Act.
Motion on the floor.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns? Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Dice.
Next is an ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville adjusting the salary system structure for 2016.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Dice.
The last ordinance is an ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville establishing a 2016 fee schedule.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Dice. We'll move over reports of the municipal staff. And Bruce, I know you already dealt with the.
Yeah, let me just say a little, just a few more sentences. The opening invocation ordinance, that will be to the manager very soon, and I believe the manager has been given direction by council. If not, I want to make sure that he does have the direction. Go ahead and advertise that for the January meeting. Is anybody opposed to having Tim advertise the invocation ordinance for January 2016?
No, sir.
Seeing none, you have your orders.
All right.
sir.
That's
Thank
all I
you.
have.
Tim, any words of wisdom?
Yeah, just a few things. I mentioned on Thursday, I asked council about combining what you can do under the Home Rule Charter and the Borough Code, combining our work session or citizens' night in January with our reorganizational meeting. Every other year, after an election year, there is what's called a reorganizational meeting for boroughs and first-class townships. Second-class townships have them every year. And you can combine. Now, we're only going to combine the Citizens' Night, so that will be, there will not be a Citizens' Night meeting on January the 7th, Thursday. It will be on Monday, January the 4th, with the reorganizational meeting. The council meeting will be at its normal time of January the 12th, the second Tuesday of the month. The other thing, too, I just wanted to mention about the fee schedule. The only really new fee in there, the fees are adjusted all the time depending on cost, but the only new fee in there for the benefit of the public is for recycling bins. 25 years ago, when the recycling ordinance was passed in 1989, I think we're in 1990, Act 101, there was a lot of grant money out there to get recycling bins, and they were given away, free. Well, it's getting to the point where people come down for recycling bins. Not a lot, but if you move into Monroeville, you'll get 2 recycling bins for free, and you have to establish that you've moved in here within the last year. But other than that, we're going to be charging $15 for recycling bins from now on. Now, and a lot of people say that the recycling bin was ruined by the people that are picking them up. Well, if that's the case, then obviously we'll replace it. But we're getting a little bit to the point where people come down and we're just giving them away, and they're costing us thousands of dollars every so often. We have to spend $10,000, $12,000, not every year, but that's what we shell out for them. And so we're putting a fee on the recycling bins unless you've just moved into the municipality. Just wanted to mention that for the benefit of the public.
Okay, we need a motion on that for the $15 charge, since we just.
No, it's in the fee schedule.
Oh, it's already in there?
It's already in the fee
Oh,
schedule.
okay, very
It's already
good.
in the fee schedule.
Okay, very good.
Just wanted to mention that.
All right, Paul Hugus, any words of wisdom?
No, sir.
And Sean Lawley?
No, sir.
And right now, ladies and gentlemen, I will now open up for public comments on any item that you would like to address council with. This is certainly your time.
Greg, can I just interject something here?
You sure can, sir.
Sorry, I was going to wait for my report, but I don't know if the people in the audience realize what just happened up there on those above motions, but I wanted to let you know that that was the 2016 municipal budget with no tax increase and no cut in services. And I wanted to let you know that
You stole my thunder, Ron.
let you know that Tim Little and Sean Lawley and council worked very hard on that, for that to happen, and I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that, so.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll open up for public comment from anybody in the audience that would like to address council. Seeing none, we'll close that proportion.
Hold on, Mary.
Oh, I'm sorry, somebody. Please come on up.
That's what happens when you try to be polite.
Well, you're certainly not that.
If you could sign your name, sir. Sign your name, sir.
Yeah, please.
Paul
sign in.
Kirschbaum, I'm a pastor at Monroeville Assembly of God.
The pen is
The
right.
pen's hanging right there.
Right there, I can't see them right.
Thank you. If you could state your name again, sir.
Paul Kirschbaum,
Thank you.
and as I mentioned, I'm a pastor at Monroeville Assembly of God. Been a
Welcome.
part of this community for years and well, decades, and served, Mayor's Cleanup Day, as you know, multiple efforts for our veterans, and, that represented the community.
That's all
and,
true.
And I believe in my, I'm not here just to, cause a fuss or anything like that, but it's kind of just, it's hurtful is the word, that it's getting this close to home. I can remember when there was the shooting at the mall and the fight, and these are just things you just don't want to hear about your community, and this is certainly one of them. Can't think of any society anywhere that ever got better by removing prayer. When we removed prayer from the schools in 1963, just have so many statistics that are heartbreaking that I could share with you. Pregnancies among girls went up 553%. Sexually transmitted diseases, 226%. Unmarried people living together, 353%. Single-parent homes. I was a youth pastor for 25 years, and just have listened to too many kids just bawl their eyes out at the destruction of the family. And it's a slow death. And we have a great community, and I just don't see anywhere in the world where removing prayer from a society ever helped it. As you voted on everything that you did today, there was never a minority that overruled the majority, correct? It doesn't ever happen in society, but yet it's happening in America, and maybe you could explain it to me. Maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm just stuck in my own little world, but I just don't understand how a minority can take over a majority. You're all intelligent men and women, and can someone explain it to me?
Mr. Dicey, let him know that we can address.
Well, as I stated before, we're not going to entertain discussion on this matter until after we've done our due diligence in putting together the criteria that we think are necessary for an ordinance to establish a policy on prayer.
Okay. Can I hear just from the horse's mouth, like how this all got started? I've heard reports of, read newspapers, but
I don't think that we want to get into any comments at a public meeting concerning how it might have got started. You read the newspapers like we do.
okay.
And whatever the newspaper said, maybe part of it's true. Because I've found that newspapers don't always get it right.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. And I think that that's the best place we can leave it right now.
Well, I just, there's a lot of people you hear, and this is just really a fact-finding. I think it's going to increase. People are going to continue to come out and voice their opinions, and it's not to be,
That's your constitutional right. to
and I appreciate that, and it's not to be a pain in the neck. It's just, I think we're all just tired of it. We're all tired of losing rights. To be honest with you, there's men died for this country for those rights, and it's just so hard to sit back and watch them go away. And I just feel the same way with the shooting and the violence at the mall. I just say, not in our community. Not in our community. We're better than this. We can stand strong. So really on a fact-finding mission more than anything right now. And if anyone can explain that, better to me, I would certainly be all ears. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Nice to see you. I hope you're feeling better.
I am. Please state your name for the
Sorry,
record.
I apologize. Sorry. Rabbi Barbara Simons. I am the Rabbi of Temple David, and I am the president of the Monroeville Interfaith Ministerium. I think the word hurtful is exactly on track. I think this is really hurtful for a lot of us. And the challenge with this issue is what we tried to address. We sent an email to all of you through the ministerium this past week. And in it we wrote that because prayer is important to us all, and we believe that the power of prayer guides us to live our values. And I will quote now, as a diverse community, we believe no single tradition's prayer represents all of the religions of Monroeville. And we were endorsing a moment of silence. The challenge isn't exactly prayer. The challenge is what prayer? Because as we look at Monroeville, wherever you go in Monroeville, in a store or in the schools or in the hospitals or wherever we go, it is wonderfully diverse. We should be proud of how diverse we are. Yes, it's a different community than it had been when Gateway was established in 1958, which, by the way, was the year that Temple David was established. It absolutely is different, right? But at the same time, if we can celebrate that diversity by figuring out, is there a way? Maybe it is through silence. Maybe there's a way that we can be in communication, as we are so good at doing, to be able to reflect the beautiful diversity of this community. We don't want to take away prayer. We want it actually to be more inclusive so more people can pray. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Please sign in. Certainly state your name for the record.
Pastor Bruce Schaefer, Grace Life Church, Monroeville.
Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you. Just wanted to just be here tonight to really ask God for His blessing, if that's all right. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you right now that you give this community wisdom. Many things come against us in these hours, but you say in your word, pray for peace of all men, that we might live a quiet, peaceable life. I pray right now, Father, that you would just help us by the Holy Spirit, guide us, lead us into truth. I thank you that Monroeville will be a free community where we can pray openly, and where, Father God, these leaders of our community can pray, and no weapon formed against this community will prosper. We decree in the name of Jesus that your favor will be on this community, and I thank you, Lord, that this lawsuit would find its way somewhere else and everything would work out according to your purpose. We thank you for it now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave it open. Once again, please sign in, state your name for the record.
Again.
I know.
Helen Kroll again. There could be great debate about prayer because prayer is something that is so personal. And each one of us has a relationship with a God. A God. But which God? I mean, you say, yes, we're a diverse community. Well, the whole world is diverse. Our nation was founded on Christian principles. Now, if I were to go to another country, I'm a Christian. There was a time when you could not go to Israel and talk about Jesus over there. Now it's quite open, because I think they've come to realize that we are combined. We have a Judeo-Christian nation here. I'm not going to go back into the history, but I should say that if we do have prayer at these meetings, and as this lady suggested, that we are diversified, that each one of a different faith could come out and offer a prayer, who's to say that there is a satanic church? Would you have someone come up here and pray to Satan? Would you have someone up here who believes in another God? Would you believe somebody would come up here and pray to, well, this one wants Buddha, this one wants another one, this one wants this God, that God, which gods? You know what that does? It makes a mockery. It makes a mockery of the one and true God. Because there has to be only one truth. You can't have a multiple selection of truths, can you? If you're a male, nobody can say you're part male or part woman or you're whatever. Can you say you're an American? Are you an American? Or are you an international citizen of some other country? You have to be one. And I hope, it's always the money. You look at the news, it's always follow the money. Even in this last incident where there was a shooting, okay, follow the money. No matter what it is, it's usually in crime, whatever it is, it's usually follow the money. And that's what's happened here with the ACLU. They want to bring such a case against you that they feel that they can break you. Well, God is in control if you let him be. If you let him be. So I know that you may not be openly free to pray before, the meeting, but you can pray in your closet. God hears it. He knows your heart. He knows your mind. If you want to save the country, you also save yourself. You save the next generation. So I submit to you that, those who are present here who believe in the one God, then we can all join together. Because the word says only 2 or 3 together, God will answer. I want Monroeville to be a lighthouse in the midst of all this darkness in the whole country. God can eliminate anything that comes against you or this municipality. We can be a town that would be a light for other towns to follow. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please sign in, sir, and state your name for the record and that you're a resident of Monroeville.
My name's Calvin Clark. I live on Rush Valley.
You don't have to give your address, but that's okay.
But I'm on staff at New Covenant Presbyterian Church, and it's the first time I've ever spoken at a council meeting. So, in a way, I'm glad for this issue, so I can come and say hello. I watch you on television. But I just want you to know that we're praying for the wisdom of Solomon for you all in this issue. That it's a tough issue. We of course, as a church, believe that that there is truth and that God stands for that truth, and God is behind that truth. But we also believe that part of God's wisdom is tolerance for each other. And one of the great things I think about the United States and the community is religious tolerance. I would ask for my own religion to be tolerated, and I would want others to be as well. So I just want you to know that I'll be praying for you personally, that God will give you wisdom as you address this issue, and that success will come as a part of that.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the floor open for anybody who would like to address council. If you'll kindly sign in and state your name for the record, and that you are a Monroeville resident.
Yes, Robert English. You guys are in really a tough spot. And when we see a divided world today, we have Presbyterian here, we have Catholics here, we have a Jewish rabbi here. If we can tolerate all of the, you know what I'm saying? We're all pulling the same cart forward. We all want to help the community. We're all just striving to make things better. And if we as a community can pull together, I think that it'll make this situation a little bit easier. And the thing, even if you take the religious part out of it, this nation is one nation under God. And we should be able to speak that anytime without fear of being condemned or convicted or, not allowed to say it on TV. So whatever the case, we're all praying for you guys. We appreciate the situation you're in, but we're with you 100%. And I know as a community, whether it's Catholic, Protestant, Presbyterian, Jewish, Christian churches, we're all pulling together. We're together. We're all together. And that's what we need to do as a nation. And I'm hoping that God will use this situation to help the country, because God never throws a stone and hits one object. He wipes out a bunch of stuff all in one shot. So I'm hoping that that we are the light, and we can be the light, not only for this community, but for the country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open for anybody who would like to address council. Seeing none, we'll close that proportion of the meeting, and we'll go to reports of our official. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim, you had one other issue.
Yeah, one item that was left off the agenda, my fault, is just more or less a housekeeping item. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the 2016 insurance proposals from Excalibur Insurance.
Motion on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Yes, sir.
Since we're doing it, and I have an oops, that's correct, thank you. I want to apologize to Leah Vonnewagen. I overlooked her appointment to the Convention Visitors Bureau. I would like to do that now.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Do we have any other items we need to address? Linda, we're going to start off with you.
Okay, first I would like to congratulate Mr. Caleri on the birth of his brand-new baby girl, and congratulations to him and his wife and their family. Secondly, I would like to remind everyone about the Senior Center's Holiday Pancake Breakfast. That is December 16th at 10 o'clock. Tickets will be available only until tomorrow. So if you want to go, you have to go get your tickets by tomorrow. Another issue was brought up to my attention. As it's getting darker earlier, people are still out walking their dogs earlier in the evenings. They're wearing dark-colored clothes, and people are having a hard time seeing them. So think about maybe wearing something lighter, having a little flashlight with you, because the weather's been nice, so more people are out walking. So just for safety purposes for yourself as well as the drivers, let's think about that. And lastly, I just want to tell everyone Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you have wonderful times with your families. Enjoy every moment, and just happy holidays, and that's all I have.
Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Mr. Clary as well and his family, primarily, actually, his daughter, Katie, who now gets to be a big sister. Which, she's been the little sister for a long time, so now Katie gets to be a big sister, but congratulations to you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Once again, we are forming that ad hoc board in January to examine the home rule charter. So please, any resident that is interested in serving the community, it's good that we look at these things every now and then. It's been about 20 years since the home rule charter has been looked at. So please express your interest, and we'll get that board rolling in hopefully at the beginning of the year. The holiday light up contest was held Sunday and then and Monday. There are winners in each ward, and then a grand prize winner. In Mrs. Gatos's ward, Ward 1 was the Pierce family on 323 Quarry Road. In my ward was the BJ family on Foxborough, 1332 Foxborough. Ward 3 was Bill Shaughnessy. I apologize for any mispronunciations. I should have said their address is what I should have said. 106 Donley Drive. Kling & Smith in Ward 4 at 302 Doe Lane. 260 Rosecrest Drive was Ward 5. We didn't have a name for that house, unfortunately. Skiba family and their neighbor, they do a joint thing on Monroeville Road down in Ward 6, 2274 and 2272. And then the Ward 7 was the Spallone family at 707 Dewberry Drive. If you didn't catch those addresses, really just drive down those streets. You'll be able to tell which one was the winner on those streets or the brightest houses. But the grand prize winner, and not that I'm playing favorites, but it was the second ward. I wasn't the only one voting. I was going
But you swayed them.
Yeah.
Well, then I encourage everybody to drive around all these houses and see if you agree with us. But the BJ family on Foxborough Drive did a super job. And but thanks everyone for decorating. And once again, it's a testament to our community and how we celebrate. And a great job for everyone. And then lastly, a happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas to everyone and a happy holidays. And we'll see you in January.
Ron.
Yes, I was going to, that's dangerous for Tim and you guys when I read that Borough publication that comes out, but I was reading in there that the PALCB distributed license-free reimbursements to the municipalities and cities, so I looked it up on the site, and it said they sent us $16,550 on PALCB license reimbursements. Did we get it?
I hope we did. I'm sure we did.
Did
So-
we?
I'll check into it.
Okay. He's checking.
Okay. Getting back to the non-maintained blighted property situation, unfortunately, I got to bring that up again. Once again, I was reading, and my question is, and I think Mr. Dice answered me earlier, but Paul, do we have a property maintenance code?
Yes, sir.
Does it help us with those situations?
It
Or
does.
should we update it?
Well, it does help us, but when there's no owner of record, that's where it fails.
Does it possibly need maybe reviewed?
No, because there's no owner of record.
So no matter what we do, that's going to be a
Correct.
problem.
Because you have to go after the owner of record, and in this case, that person is deceased.
The new LED streetlights were put in on Logan's Ferry Road, and if you want to see what they look like, just take a ride down there. They are much more natural lighting, brighter. They're white, not yellow. And I understand from Mr. Story that Duquesne Light is going to continue to put in those other 90 streetlights that we got allocated to us. Some of the bills that I read off. I only have 3. It's funny that Tim talked about one of them. Just to let the residents know that we paid $73,082 in seal coat, fog seal, and crack seal for the roadways. And Tim was talking about the recycling cans. We spent $13,689 on recycling cans.
Yeah, he took that one off me too, Ron.
So, and Tresco paving, finally for the year, was $258,000. So everybody knows that. I want to thank all the employees, council, and all the department heads for a very good year, I believe. I want to thank everybody for all their help all year long. and wish everybody a happy holiday, and hope you have a very healthy holiday also. Congratulations to Paul Caleri, of course. Welcome to Mr. Brown to the municipal employee lineup. And Paul, I wanted to tell you that Linda said she'd babysit anytime you want.
Sure.
Thank you.
Bring him over with my grandson.
Jimmy.
Yes, just a couple quick things. I'd like to thank everybody that was there last night to support the spirit of Christmas for the kids. Thanks to all the folks that were there. There'll be approximately another 200 children in the area that will get a toy that they otherwise wouldn't have. And other than that, happy holidays, and I'm done.
Mr. Caleri.
Okay, I've thought about this for a while.
Oh, my.
Against the wise guidance of council, I have an opinion. I ran, and on my signs, it said the voice of the people, so I'm tired of sitting here being quiet. I just want you to know I agree with you, and I thank you for the outpouring and the support that you've brought us. This is not a dead issue. Unfortunately, somebody wanted to file a lawsuit. That's why we have to be quiet, and I'm tired of being quiet all the time. And you've all inspired me, so thank you. We'll do everything that we can. I will. I only speak for myself up here, and I'm willing to take the ramifications thereof. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, Paul. Steve.
I wanted to congratulate Paul on his new gift. And also, I'd like to thank all the residents for coming tonight. Your support means a lot. And I'd like to thank the staff for a budget that we passed with no tax increase. That means a real lot also. And other than that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. That's all I have.
I'd like to say congratulations. Excuse me, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'd like to say congratulations to Paul and his wife, Nicole.
Thank you. She did all the work.
Wow,
I supported her, though.
well, that's good. Also, congratulations to council for passing the budget, a balanced budget with no tax increase.
I haven't signed it yet, so it's not passed yet. I'm kidding.
Well, I know you will, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I have confidence. I would like to congratulate the folks on 707 Dewberry for winning the 7th Ward Lights program. I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year. And also to Rabbi Simon, Happy Hanukkah. And welcome Cody. Where's Cody?
He had to go.
Cody left the building.
He had family obligation.
Goodbye, Cody. But I'd like to welcome Cody as a new member of our staff. And that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
And I'll be very quick as well. Paul, congrats, obviously. The only sad thing is that you now have 4 women in your house and you're alone, so
Very true.
you have your job cut out for you. But congratulations to you and Nicole. Obviously, you all know how I feel. I think I spoke as the resident. I'm going to just leave it at that. And I agree with Paul, this is not hardly over. And I do just want to say this also, congratulations to all our employees. You did a wonderful year this year. You did a great job. So to all the staff up here, all the staff that's maybe watching, thank you for all what you do for us and our residents. And the other thing is, I want to just say to our police department, I know you guys get some bad press out there, but, your community loves you. We all support you, and you guys do a great job for us, and thank you for your service. And I have to say this too, congratulations to Pastor Buck and his wife Amy. It's their 20-year anniversary today. They took the time to come on. So thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Amy. And have a great time this evening. Enjoy yourself. And with that, I'm going to say Happy Hanukkah, Rabbi, and to all your community, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Please have a very safe New Year's and a wonderful holiday season coming up. Thank you, and with that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you and good night. Thank you for coming.
That was close.